The reboot is all about rewiring our brain. And a lot of the addiction lies in that hidden part of our brain we don't understand. There's a lot of days of complete hopelessness and feeling of despair, like there's no fixing this addiction. But I can tell you with certainty that is not true. There is a way out. There is permanency in the solution.
All right, what's going on, Reboot team? Chris here with yet another testimonial from somebody coming to us from our exclusive Reboot Implementation Program. And honestly, I'm like looking forward to like this particular call because I've gotten to know this guy a little bit. He's a really high performing guy, a really ambitious guy, and I've seen this guy start to like flourish a little bit more in his structure, in his self-awareness, and his vulnerability, and it's only the beginning, but we're gonna get to know his journey so far. I'm here with Jeffrey. How you doing today, homie?
I'm doing pretty good. Doing great. How are you, Chris?
Dude, I'm good, man. Like I said, I'm looking forward to like, getting to know, the ins and outs of what's been going on for you in the program so far. But let's just start from just the very beginning. How did you first discover the program to begin with?
It was through JK's podcast
Okay.
on Spotify. I was listening to other podcasts on the similar topics, and either someone recommended to me or I just kind of found it by searching in the Spotify browser, came across JK's podcast, and I was like, I'm going to listen to this every morning while I'm, doing gig work when I'm driving. And so about episode 30, I'm like, okay, JK has pitched his program a dozen times. And this episode, he's just pitching me checking out his website. So I'm just going to go check out his website. I'll probably get sold, but I'm just going to check out the website. Try not to get sold too hard.
But walk me through it. So you're like, searching for, somebody, on like a podcast format talking about whether it's like porn or, other sexual compulsive behaviors. I'm curious, like what was the moment like when you finally were just like, you know what, if we're gonna do this, like let's do this for real. Like what was the moment that you finally got to where you pulled the trigger essentially?
It happened a little bit before the call. So I want to get his ebook. I just wanted to like get as much information as I could on how to recover. I was like, it's a free ebook. Give him my information, probably gonna get a sales call. That's when it happened. I got the email like, hey, let's schedule some time to talk. I'm like, okay, might as well. Of all the things I could buy in my life, this is probably something I would probably benefit the most with. Just because, it's like you're getting insurance for your car and you drive a lot every year. Something could happen, especially if you're like, a pretty aggressive driver. So like, obviously with this addiction, it's really bad. There's just so many consequences to it. And to, invest a little bit of money into trying to fix the problem, I think that's a worthwhile investment. So I took the call and I already knew from the get-go it was going to be expensive. But I said to myself, I'm going to waste a lot of money if I stay addicted, making poor financial decisions. I've already witnessed that in my life leading up to before I signed up the program through just being compulsive about, spending money, gambling on different ideas and business ideas and careers, and, just being really risk prone. Is it going to hurt more to spend more money on trying to fix the problems of porn addiction and probably also my compulsive need to spend money, my impulsivity? And I feel like that's a negative aspect of when we're really addicted and we don't know like how much it's affecting in all aspects of our lives. So I think when I had the intro call, I think it was with David, I knew it was like something I should definitely make the investment into like changing my life for the better.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to know unless I tried.
I felt the same exact way. I met with my strategist, GT, shout out to GT. And we had it literally was like kind of like taking a look at, what this behavior has done, like how it sort of affected my life. And it was just like, I completely resonate with what you said. It's like I could, spend the money on like, behaviors that have proven to be rather self-destructive, or I can be constructive and really kind of like dive in and commit and hold myself accountable and like, put my foot down. And I love the way you worded that. So here you are in the program now, and Yeah, I mean, let's dive into it, man. Like what have been, some of the things you've learned so far? What have been some of the tools that have proven to be beneficial for you so far?
I think it was creating structure on the things that come across as really mundane, like feelings. As a guy, like I don't need to think about my emotions. They don't really affect my decisions. They're not the reason why I acted out.
Mm,
But it could be further from the truth. It is the reason why I am who I am. I make the choices I make on a daily basis. We make so many decisions based off our emotions. So one of the big things that JK teaches early in the program is emotional awareness,
mm,
and doing that through feeling exercises, checking in what kind of feelings I'm experiencing when I wake up right in the morning, early, and maybe even before I go to bed, what feelings I'm experiencing in those moments, and make it a routine to do it day in and day out. I mean, writing half a page is easy on the first day, but it gets really hard after 3 days, after a week, and it's hard to find the time fit into it. But the more days I did it, the more I got to learn more about myself and what was causing me to, spend money or, get angry or resentful, because it came from, underlying emotions that I wasn't aware of, because they pop up all the time, like happiness, sadness,
mm.
anger, all these different emotions. So that
Right.
was a big tool that, from immediate implementation began to produce results. So instead of like getting angry at a coworker or talking back, I thought to myself, hey, how am I feeling this moment? Do I have to respond in a negative way? No, I don't. If I respond negatively, I'm just going to feel worse about it. Same with being in traffic. We all drive and know what it's like to, deal with angry drivers, patient drivers, and just get frustrated on the road. So yeah.
You're driving into Manhattan, New York, for years on end. I completely relate to that, especially during rush hour. Oh man. But dude, I mean, that's a huge thing. Certainly not to be, counted out or underestimated. Just the power of knowing that you have a choice when it comes to how you react to the world around you, whether it's to a person or a situation or an emotion that you have, knowing that you have the power, despite your circumstances, to make any choice you want. You don't need to let that person or that circumstance or that emotion ultimately drive the car of your life. You know what I mean? Kind of like taking the power
Yeah.
back in a way. So that's really, really cool. And I'm curious, because I know you've been on a few of our like coaching calls and stuff like that. I'm curious about your overall experience with that.
Yeah, because of my busy work schedule, I haven't been able to go on a live coaching call, but I've done a lot of calls with you, Chris, and Orestes, the other Reboot
Right.
Hero coach. They've been tremendously helpful just because, I was able to, share with you and Orestes, like, my slips and what I'm struggling with and what could be the causes, and your expertise and, your own unique perspective really helped me find the answers. And so it helped me make adjustments in my journey of recovery and reboot. It helped me set firm boundaries. It helped me course correct over the weeks and months. So I've improved and done better. It's really, really amazing how much change can happen in a short period of time.
Yes, seriously. That's really, really cool, man. And thank you for sharing that. That's really encouraging, man. And
Yeah,
just the value of like, I mean, like you said, like, as a man, sometimes it's like, hey, like, how you doing? What are you feeling? Like sometimes, we'll put that kind of on the back burner so that we just, truck on and, do what we got to do. But again, it's just like knowing what you're working with. It's like that type of
yeah,
awareness and being able to confide in somebody is just, man, that can be a huge step, whether it's someone like me or Orestes or, someone in the group itself, it's sort of, kind of use that as a segue. What's been your experience like in the overall Facebook community?
I gotta say it's been really encouraging just seeing other people post and just seeing how similar I am in their shoes, seeing the work that they're putting in gives me a lot of motivation to continue putting in the work that I'm doing. It really holds me accountable because it's really easy, no matter what program someone invests into, to lose consistent effort. That's the hardest thing about doing any program is being consistent,
Sure.
put in the effort when you have other commitments, other obligations. And, every time I check into Facebook and I see, for instance, Adam posting as much as he does, he is my motivation right there for getting up in the morning and writing right away,
Oh.
doing my meditations, understanding how I'm feeling, getting deep into the assignments, deep into the modules, the homeworks, because if he's doing it, he's willing to put in the effort. Because a lot of us at different times don't feel like we get the results. It's not like you feel great every single day. There's a lot of days that don't feel like progress has been made. But in those days when we still show up and do the work, progress is being made in the background, even if we don't feel like it. Changing our subconscious. A lot of it is in our, the reboot is all about rewiring our brain. And a lot of the addiction lies in that hidden part of our brain we don't understand. Like, I couldn't self-diagnose this stuff to the level that we've been able to diagnose and change and correct this year in the 10 years that I've struggled.
And sort of piggybacking off of that, just with what you've learned so far on the types of, progress that you mentioned that you've made thus far, whether it's, obviously your relationship with unhealthy behaviors and just your overall sense of awareness and just how you feel in general, what types of growth have you noticed in yourself so far?
It's incredible. It's emotional growth. I think in today's world, there's a lot of emotional stunted growth that happens through how hyper attentive we become through technology, through our phones.
Sure.
And emotions take time to understand, to work with in a positive, productive way. What do you do when you feel calm and relaxed? What do you do when you feel frustrated? A lot of us react quickly, and that's not the approach to take. For instance, if I'm feeling upset, I'll go eat ice cream and eat food, and then that ultimately leads to social media binging, and then ultimately late at night, that's when acting out happens. But emotional growth is a big one. Self-awareness, those things bring connection with myself, and I believe in a higher power. I believe that the world was created with things that we don't understand, created from things that we don't understand, and that connection really, brought up a whole new spiritual awakening in me. And I think that's a big part of recovery and rebooting. It doesn't just take correcting what we do in terms of behaviors. It takes things that we don't see and understand.
Powerful, man. Yeah.
Yeah, there's an Einstein quote: in order to solve a problem that we created, it takes a higher level of consciousness. And that ultimately is a way to define the reboot program. You're raising your consciousness.
No doubt. Yeah. I mean, like I said before, it's like know thyself, and then
Yeah.
following through with that data that you find and creating that kind of life that you want to live, but that's not possible without that sense of awareness and compassion for yourself, both for where you're
Mhm.
at and both for, I mean, this is where the concept of having a reboot definition comes into play. Because me to you, Jeffrey, because like I can't tell you what's important to you. I can't tell you like you need to do this because it's like we're here as the system to, provide you with the accountability, with the structure, with the tools so that you can build whatever it is that you want,
Yeah.
And I'm really, really glad to have seen, that type of progress. And I think it's really, really encouraging. And no, I'm just excited. I appreciate you speaking on that. That's really, really awesome.
Yeah. And, just think about all the guys, all the people watching this testimonial, and, maybe other people that would have seen this and, not thought much of it. Just know that I was in your shoes at one point, and lots of other guys in the program were as well. There's a lot of days of complete hopelessness and feeling of despair, like there's no fixing this addiction. But I can tell you with certainty that is not true. There is a way out, and there is permanency in a solution. It takes work. It takes changing, the direction our life is going in. And, going back to knowing thyself, you really have to intimately know yourself. And the system that the reboot program provides and everyone's different. Like, it's not a one size fits all. We work at it in our own ways, and it comes to be the system that adapts to our needs and our particular issues in a way that best helps us move forward.
No doubt. I mean, and maybe to close our conversation out, because we have people coming through the program, all the time with similar stories to ours, having tried various approaches and listened to a bunch of different perspectives and, still might be kind of on the fence as far as like, what to do and, how to go about things, what's the next best move, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been there in my own shoes, and I think that's super common, but, coming from a place of, being where you've been, both, before you joined the program and also when you first initially started, and having learned what you've learned, having implemented what you have, and having experienced what you have so far, is there anything that you would want to directly say to that person, to that brother who might just, again, kind of figuring out everything as he's going along and, not really sure, did I make the right decision? Like, what should I do now? Is there any hope? Like, if you could like spend a minute or two, like just speaking directly to that person, what might you say?
I gotta say that there's been so many times when this exact question has been playing in my head, and I came up with the answer with such passion and vigor that yes, this is worth it. This is worth your future, your life. It came up earlier today in work. You only live once, and people think that is a take all the risks you want in the world. The rational part of that is you only live once, and you got to make it count. You want to achieve your dreams. You want to be the man that you want to be and accomplish the things you want to accomplish. So don't throw it away making the same mistakes over and over and over again. When you make an investment in yourself, whether it's with this program or the programs you made in the past, and going to school and working hard and working out and developing yourself, it's always paid dividends. It's always been a return on that time and effort and sacrifice. This is no different. This is attacking the crux of your struggle and something that you couldn't do by yourself in the past. And now you have the opportunity to change that. And it seems like a lot today, right now, to put in the time, spend the money. But when the years go by and you look back and you made the investment, you realize that there is so much more that you've gained as a result of putting a strong bet on yourself and changing yourself than if you didn't. I can tell you already for a fact that in the income I've seen grow since joining the program, it's already paid for itself, the program, 2, 3 times back. I am a better man than I've ever been before joining the program in the state of addiction that I was in.
There is not much for me to add. That is, man, you said it all. I really, really appreciate you sharing your experience, sharing your heart, sharing your insights. And dude, all the continued best to you and continued success. And if you are in need of any assistance or just, in need of that community, we're here. I'm here. Orestes is here. And we got you, man. So all the continued best to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah. And I'd like to share one last message to
Yeah.
everyone
Oh,
watching.
yeah.
You watching this video, listening, if I can leave one last piece of advice as you're in your journey of recovery, in your journey of freedom and victory, never, ever, ever give up on yourself. Never quit, because there's going to be days that are hard. There's also going to be days that you come out on top and are triumphant, and you got to keep pushing forward because you will see success.
Jeffrey, everybody, thank you so much for your time, brother. I really appreciate you.